Hi, this is Thompson, and you're watching From the Cape with Bass, hosted by Daniel Peterson.
Hi, today we're hanging with a great bass player, Robin Thompson. Hi, Robin. Can you tell us what your first musical experience was?
My first musical experience started in the house. We were always surrounded with music, particularly gospel music and Christian music, and it was only later on in my younger childhood years that I was exposed to the old school R&B, and from there the music or the love for music just grew, and I started gaining an interest in wanting to play an instrument, and it was actually drums initially.
Can you tell us why the bass guitar?
After playing drums for a couple of years, I started when I was at 7. Yeah, and my father and I had a little disagreement or an argument, if you will, about what was the best type of music. Me being 13 years old, my answer was it was new school music, and he was old school music. So I went to my uncle one afternoon, and he put on a DVD of Earth, Wind and Fire live by request, and that was my first time that I saw Verdine White play on stage, and I was mesmerized by what this guy can do on bass. His movement with a bass guitar and the general feel of hearing that boom, of the bass, and I was hooked instantly. I wanted to know who this guy was and what was it about this thing of the bass that really got me hooked. After that, I got home. I started picking up an acoustic um, guitar, and I played on the G string, which is the very first string on the guitar. And I just started fiddling on that one string for hours. And I played to uh, this one gospel CD, which was based on acoustic guitars and acoustic bass. And that's when my journey with the bass guitar started.
Can you tell us about the albums and the artists that you've worked with?
Okay, so artists that I've worked with over the years, I did so by working with people like Winston Sylvier, and I did a brief stint with Major 7 SA and my local church. So I've worked with the South African Army Band, Can Skylark, Tim Feeder, Jason Skippers, Winston Sylvier, Sounds of the Nations, Africa, Alvira Standili, JP Crouch, um, Karen Kokia, Retief Berger, Sammy Weber, Bianca Wood, Jesse Jordan, Carter Fru, Craig Lucas, Salome, Zoe Zana, Lukman Adams, the Monroes, Candace Thornton, um, Rochelle Lederman, and very recently with Jerome Rex, Nadine Matthews, and Hakistraat Hartman. And international artists that I've worked with include John Owens from the USA, Cheval Franklin from the USA, and 2 UK artists, Loreen Kato and Noel Robertson, who is signed to Integrity Music.
Can you tell us about the gear that you're using?
This is my first bass that I got, my first 5-string bass. My first bass was a Yamaha RBX 270, it was a 4-string. I moved on to 5, and this bass I bought at, actually I didn't buy it, my parents blessed me with this bass. My parents were very supportive in my journey with music, that they supported me all along these years with the gear. So um, I got this bass in Paul Bothner Plumstead, and it has a bit of sentimental value to me because it was sold to me by Molly Barron, who was one of the former um, band members of the Rockets. So for me to hold on to this bass says a lot, because I mean it's been through hell and high water. I mean, this was my workhorse for many years, and as a youngster, you don't know anything about tones or anything, as long as it gives you a very nice sound. And when you're young, your hearing is completely different. So when I play this bass now at the age of, at what I am, I'm finding that there are tones that this bass gives out that I didn't necessarily explore in my earlier days of playing the bass. So I got to appreciate this bass um, now more than ever because of the low mids and that warm tone that I get out of it, especially when playing different styles. Okay, this is the last bass that I ever managed to get, and I'm proud to say that this has been my workhorse since, man, I think it was 2014 or 2015. Story behind this bass. This story of the bass started with me meeting Sammy Weber for the very first time in 2009. And upon meeting Sammy, we were talking gear and we were talking guitars. And he asked me, "So, what bass do you play? What basses are you interested in?" And I told him that I was very, very interested in the Yamaha 5P, the TRB 5P, the first generation P 5P bass. And I've been going on for this bass for a solid 2 hours, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is a very long time for you to talk about the bass if you count the seconds. And I asked him, okay, so what bass are you playing? Because I was expecting the Ibanez bass that he's been playing for many years. And he opens the top of the bag. And as soon as I saw the two lines, which is, those two lines over there, I knew instantly that this was the bass that he was, that I've been talking his ear off for 2 minutes. Um, so I told him, I can't believe that you made me talk for 2 minutes about this bass. And this was my dream bass at the time, and it always has been because of the through neck body construction that gives you a very nice sustain on this bass, and the fact that it has individual saddles for the string with the 3-band equalizer, as well as this little piezo knob that has, um, pickups in the bridge. So it listens to the full range of the instrument. And for you to get a bass like that, at that time, I mean, it was extremely rare, and it was, for lack of a better word, it was expensive because this is, Yamaha's boutique basses, if you will. And Sammy told me that if any event that I'm looking to own this bass, he would keep it for me, and I would have first preference. So fast forward all those years to, yes, it was 2016. Um, and I just called Sammy up and I told him that, Sammy, I think I'm ready to take ownership of the bass. And this is me saying with all fear in my in my head because I was afraid that maybe the bass was gone. And I bought the bass from Sammy Weber. So this is formerly Sammy Weber's bass. And this has been my workhorse since then. I've done majority of the gigs that I've done with the artists that I've mentioned through Winston Year and through, you know, Major 7 SA and Every Nation Churches, and along with Sounds in the Nations, I did with this bass. And I couldn't be more grateful to Sammy Weber, not just for allowing me to take ownership of the bass, but for also being one of my biggest mentors on bass in terms of, your musicianship and just being a good person and being a very humble human being. And I've learned a lot through Sammy, not just by acquiring the space, but in terms of being a bassist on the Cape scene and what you need to look out for, and how bassists ought to, thrive, knowing that there are so many of us, serving on the Cape scene.
Do you have any advice for young up and coming bass players and musicians?
A lot of bass players would say be humble, but you know, with being humble, you need to have a very strong character when pursuing a career in music, especially as a bass player. You're going to come across a lot of musicians with a lot of strong characters. Some might not be your cup of tea, some will. And I think that's the secret to maintaining those relationships is, who you will gel with, others not. But that's just the beauty of the scene because, what you leave in terms of working with other people, you leave that opportunity open for another basis. Also, understand the limitations of your bass, what your bass can and cannot do. You will find that as you go on with the years, you're going to upgrade your gear. So get to know, the functionality of your bridge, set your truss rod. So now and then, know the different frequencies that the bass can push out when you lift your strings from the pickup. Um, Take very good care of your gear. Maintain them well. Even if it means that you need to do, your own intonation, cleaning your fretboard. Don't let that corrosion build up on your frets and on your bass, because ultimately, this is your tool. This is what you work with. This is what helps you earn a living. And I learned this from from Greg Pinto, that this is just a piece of wood. It will come and go. It's just a piece of wood. But always remember that although this is a piece of wood, you do work with it. You are employed, you get gigs. This is the stuff that you make use of. Invest in gear over the years. Be responsible with the money that you make from gigs. Invest it very wisely in terms of gear. Set some aside for a rainy day, and just make sure that you work very smartly with what you make. And yeah, support local artists. If you have the opportunity to play with a local artist that has original music, be first in line as a bassist, because you never know what your bass playing can add to that composition. Um, Many a times composers have an idea of what the music is going to sound like, but through your bass playing, you will be able to leave somewhat of a footprint, you know, or print on their works, and that says a lot about your character through your playing. So as much as you will learn your scales, you will learn other techniques. It's also very important, yes, to have your own voice, but allow your voice to resonate with the people that you are working with, and strive for those moments that when you're playing live, that you get that your moment, especially when you're playing lines. Also, don't be too fixated on lines and riffs. There's going to be an opportunity for you as a bassist to shine. If it's not in a solo, find that critical moment within the song to put that line in, because you need to remember that as a bass player, you're laying the foundation for the rest of the band. You're housing the group, actually. So you're allowing other musos to do what they need to do. So if you're going to run lines, the keyboard's going to run lines and the guitar is going to run lines. You neglect your responsibility as a bassist at the end of the day. So try as much as you can to keep to the low ends, keep to the groove, keep to the drummer. The drummer is your best friend. And another tip for bassists when it comes to getting your tone on the live stage, try to match your tone to what the drummer's tone is. This is very weird, because this is also part of ear training. At the end of the day, it's not what your bass sounds like alone. It's how your bass is going to sound with the rest of the band. If your bass is too bright, it's just going to overpower everything. If your bass is too boomy, you're going to compete with the drummer. So learn the different sound dynamics of the stage. If it's outdoor, know exactly how much mids you need to put on your bass. And the best way for you to test this out is when you're doing a sound check with the drummer, ask the drummer to play with you, so that when he hits the hi-hats and when he hits the crash, and you, let's say, doing a line when you're slapping or popping, when he hits those particular parts of the drum kit, the snare and the crash, make sure that gets that punch, because when an audience is there, an audience is not supposed to hear the bass, they're supposed to feel it. And when you watch the audience reactions to your bass playing, they want to feel that low end. They don't want to hear you. So kudos for you guys that learn the licks and that learn the lines and all that, but keep to the groove.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share this video with your family and friends. Please follow From the Cape with Bass on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much. God bless you.